Good evening, everyone. This is the Puyallup City Council meeting for June 17th. I'm Jim Castellman, the mayor. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. With that, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Dorr?
Present.
Councilmember Adler?
Present.
Councilmember Johnson?
Present.
Councilmember Whitting?
Present.
Councilmember Gilliam?
Present.
Deputy Mayor King?
Present.
Mayor Castellman.
Present. At this time, I will forego asking for any school children in the audience today. It's not the case, and I will just go ahead and move on the agenda. We'll move to number 1, approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
I would like to actually amend the agenda, please. I would like to amend it to add to 2C under presentation and proclamations. And I would like to have the police chief come forward and briefly explain the 4th of July regulations that are being put in place in Puyallup. I think that for a public announcement purposes, I think it's important that this information get out because this is a very contentious issue on the 4th of July. Councilor Whitting.
I'd like to pull the Eladia thing off the consent agenda.
We'll do that when we get to the consent agenda, okay? And that is completely allowable at that point to then put it in an additional place or to, if you want to table it for further discussion at a future meeting, that can also be a motion. But that would be what we do at that time. Is that okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So with that amendment, first of all, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right, let's move on to number 2, presentations and proclamations. And thank you for that kind of pivot right there, but I think it's important. I would like to first have a presentation honoring Deputy Chief Dave McDonald. And I had said, I saw him earlier, and I said, no crying this evening, although I think some members, council members, will feel very tearful of you leaving the city, kind of a very iconic figure. With that, I will open it up for council member comments if they would like to make some of those comments, because I think there's some people up here who are very, very dear friends of him. But having said that, Steve, Kirkley, City Manager, please, would you like to give a presentation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Castellman, council members. Deputy Chief, would you mind just coming up this way a little bit so people can see who I'm about to embarrass a little bit? Not really. So this is Deputy Chief Dave McDonald. It's really my honor today to be recognizing Deputy Chief McDonald for his 35 years of service with the city. You know, one of the things you've heard Chief Engel and others, and I appreciate the command staff and others being here today from the Puyallup Police Department, but it's very rare nowadays when you actually have somebody start with an agency and stay there their entire career. Often it moves, there's lateral moves, and often because Puyallup is such a desirable police department, thanks to the support from council, a great chief of police, and great command staff and community, it's a very desirable department to work for. And so usually people come here from lateral positions, but we were very lucky to have Deputy Chief McDonald start in 1989 and spend his entire 35 years with the city of Puyallup and stay dedicated. And I'm sure he had many opportunities to go elsewhere, but he stayed here. He is a graduate of Steilacoom High School and a graduate of Washington State University over in Pullman. Go Cougs. I won't hold that against him. No. And got a degree in criminal justice. He started here, as I mentioned, in 1989 and was in patrol and a detective for about a decade or so, and then was promoted to sergeant in 2001, and then promoted to, 3 years later, promoted to lieutenant, and then lieutenants became captains in 2010. And then 2 years later was promoted to the deputy chief. And so very quick promotions all the way up into the deputy chief position. He was voted twice as the Officer of the Year, which is very, very impressive and quite an honor to receive. And, beyond that, he also is very involved in the community. He is a very proud Rotarian, spends a lot of time and resources, because it's not always cheap to be a Rotarian, and a lot of time dedicated to our community, with several events that he does, and as you all know, are the Library Teen Zone and other community functions, golf events, etc. So very connected. Also a great tennis player, has gone to national championships through the U.S. Tennis Association, USTA. Yeah, what's your ranking now? 4-5. So that's like right below Rafael Nadal, basically, if you know anybody in tennis. Yeah. Oh, just a little bit? Okay.
He's getting old. Maybe I can take him.
He's also left-handed, and so this is just a quick little story I'll tell. I've told this before. I played him one time when I used to play tennis. I don't anymore. I played him one time. He beat me 6-0, 6-0. I think it was about like 15-minute match. But if you've ever played against somebody who is a left-handed, their what do you call that? Not forehand. Yeah, backhand. Yeah, backhand comes over at you, and this ball just hits and just goes. So just a fabulous tennis player. Proud father. Thanks, bud. It's true. Proud father of 3 adult children, and also was a member of the city's Rainier to Ruston team for several years. Great runner. And so, as I was just briefly looking through his file, I don't want to take too much because the police department is going to have a more formal retirement ceremony, and so I don't want to take too much of that, but just a few things that really stood out. Obviously, throughout his career, leader was a term that was used quite a bit. Role model was another term that we heard. Commitment, 35 years, that in and of itself. Tactful, it's very tactful. A very good writer. And then the last one that I'll say, and I think is very important, I think all of you can appreciate this as council members and anybody who's been in any type of leadership position, is he asks good questions. And I think that's sometimes an underrated skill of leaders. So it really is my honor, not only as a city manager, but as a friend, to present you, Deputy Chief, with a certificate, 35 years of service, presented to Dave McDonald in honor of 35 years of exceptional service, leadership, and dedication to the city of Puyallup. Your unwavering commitment to public safety has left a lasting legacy on our department and community. Thank you for your outstanding service and sacrifice.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate those comments. 2 things. As police officers, we would rather probably run into a burning building or run towards the sound of gunfire than get recognized publicly. So I'm going to keep this super short. Secondly, I'm not crying. I'm recovering from an eye procedure, so that's why I look a little odd that I had surgery in my eyes two weeks ago. So, but I just want to say briefly, I've been honored to work for the city that I've grown to love. I didn't grow up here, grew up in Steilacoom, but my first opportunity to experience Puyallup was when I got hired here. Luckily enough to get hired by a city that was a destination agency back then. It was hard to get hired by the Puyallup Police Department as a police officer. They usually wanted experienced officers and could pick the best of the best from other departments that already had experience. So I got really lucky to get hired as an entry-level candidate right after college. And quickly learned to love the city, proud to serve this community. And I think I'm leaving it at a time we're in good hands. I'm very proud of this command staff right here. The chief has been great to me. The last 2 chiefs have been great to me, so it's hard to leave. But after almost 36 years, it's time to move on and enjoy the rest of my life. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So, Dave, Dave, if you want to stay there, I will ask members if they would like to give a few words. I thought Councilmember Whitting, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Dave if you had any comments about the city manager's tennis game.
He is a good sport. Usually, I don't know if the score was that bad, 6-0, 6-0. Usually when you get double baggled, that's called, you're not as gracious. So he's very gracious to experience that. But it was fun.
Deputy Mayor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your commitment to our city and all the things that you have contributed to make our city even greater than what it was in the past when you came. You are leaving it better than when you arrived, and I appreciate your service once again. And with all the pickleball courts popping up throughout the city, your retirement will be full as you transition from tennis to pickleball. And I say that kiddingly because I know that we've had that conversation.
Right.
But play tennis as long as you can. Best wishes to you, and happy retirement.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilmember Gilliam.
Thank you, Mayor Castma. Deputy Chief Dave McDonald, you are irreplaceable. Some of my most fond memories of you have been just casual conversation where you did ask fantastic questions. I love watching you be a father. One of my fond memories of you being a father is when I had the opportunity to be part of the Citizens Academy, and your daughter was in the car with us when you were taking us through the driving course.
Yeah.
You let me try my best, and then you showed me up, of course, and then you let your daughter go, and I was like, wow, that was impressive. He's the guy that you want on your golf foursome for any kind of fundraiser because he will carry the team, especially for those of us who really stink. But if I were to try to give you some descriptive words, I would definitely say consistent, compassionate, level-headed, reliable, and then 100% a very proud father. And I'm really hoping that you will make time in your retirement to consider being Rotary president. And I will take money from the club for that little shout out because you're phenomenal and we love you.
Appreciate that.
Happy
Thank you.
retirement.
Thank you, Councilmember Gilliam. Councilmember Dorr.
Thank you. My first experience with you, Dave, was as a constituent, a neggy one. And I just can't say enough about that opportunity to engage with you. You were always professional and patient and answered my questions, and have continued to do that throughout your service. There's been some challenging times for law enforcement, and you were an excellent leader during those times, still are. But you didn't let it get you down. I mean, and nobody on PPD during these challenges, I've never seen any of you waver, and your leadership was crucial to the department's morale and success. I was wondering if the city manager was going to bring up Rainier to Ruston, because I'm trying to remember if you were on former council member Palmer's team or Steve's team. So so he wasn't, that's why he brought it up. Otherwise he would be not there. I had an opportunity to see you run, and they would all say, oh, well, Dave has to run this leg because of the lack of body fat. I mean, just such a lean person that he could not run during the hot legs of the race. So I just really want to say it's been an honor and a privilege to get to serve while you were here. I appreciate everything you've done for this community. And the one thing that city manager did not mention is that we are St. Bernard parents. So we have our little St. Bernard bond over there.
That's right.
So anyway, thank you, Dave. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember Dorr. Councilmember Adler.
Thank you. Deputy Chief, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up in community. Thank you for being a part of this force and protecting me for legitimately my entire life on this planet. And that is really remarkable. I mean, just remarkable. you are leaving behind a legacy of excellence, and just so very grateful that you chose Puyallup nearly 36 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Adler. Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Deputy Chief, over the 36 years, I'm sure that you know, and I'm sure that many of your colleagues know, and many people know, but I hope that you realize, and I hope that this resonates with you, not just in this kind of moment in time, but also in the future as you move forward in this next chapter, that, Dave, you made a difference in people's lives, and some people will never know that, but many do. You prevented things, bad things that could have taken place, and you were the wall that prevented that. And I can't think of the countless times you did that. No one knows that, not even yourself, but over the years it's added up. You've also protected, and what an honorable thing to do to protect the weak and those who are being unfairly treated. And quite frankly, you've saved on multiple fronts in your service. You also, I'm sure, comforted people in times of crisis going through something that you or none of us would ever wish, and you were there at that moment in time to bring that comfort. But second to lastly, I want to say that I'm super grateful that you held people with bad behaviors firmly accountable. And there's a time for mercy, but there's also a time for justice and no. And that firmness to stand up to those who have bad behaviors and not weak, like some people are, is a protection for others that oftentimes gets forgotten how important that is. And lastly, Dave, I wish you the very, very best personally in this next chapter of your life. I'm excited for you and your future. And with that in mind, may God richly bless you and reward you for your service, not only to the city, but for him. And that as a result of that, he would bless all of your endeavors and everywhere you go and everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for those comments, members. Interesting, Dave, the word legacy comes up, and I think of things such as professionalism, friendship. You're just really, people have nothing but fond things to say about you. Community service, camaraderie amongst your colleagues, friendships. But I think Councilmember Johnson touched on something, and that is really more of a silent legacy. And I think you need to have some honor in participating in that. By that, I mean that we are all just past torches in this town. We are past torches from the previous leaders, and we carry on with that. And so when you see a family on the street and they're laughing, they're interacting as families should, you should you should know you're a part of that. You were part of that made that memory, that most precious thing in those people's lives. You allowed that to occur. When kids were on playgrounds, or even when they go to sleep at night, that you were a part of that, and it's a silent legacy. They don't say every night, thank Dave for doing this, but you were right there as part of it, as we all grab that baton and we carry it on. So thank you for your service. It's wonderful, and you deserve a wonderful retirement. We will be thinking of you.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
With that, we're now going to move on to 2B, the Ride Transit Month Proclamation. Let me go ahead and read that. Whereas Puyallup is served by two transit agencies, Pierce Transit and Sound Transit, providing services on buses, light rail, sounder train, shuttle, paratransit, rideshare, and runner. Whereas in 2024, Pierce Transit provided almost 6.8 million passenger trips by bus, 308,021 shuttle trips, 362,000 rideshare trips, 52,000 runner trips in Pierce County. 1 million of these trips were free rides to youth 18 years and under. Whereas in 2024, Sound Transit provided 920,000 T-Line passenger trips, 17 million Sounder Line trips, 2.6 million Pierce Transit operated express bus trips in Pierce County. Whereas 55% of Pierce Transit riders do not have access to a personal vehicle and 32% have annual incomes under $30,000. Whereas Pierce Transit has served as the South Sound's primary locally based public transportation system since 1980, serving the cities and towns in public transportation benefit area for 45 years. Whereas Pierce Transit has provided more than 473 million bus trips since service began in 1980, connecting our residents and our communities together. Whereas Pierce Transit provided an important lifeline to individuals who qualify for paratransit service under the American Disabilities Act, and since 1980 has provided approximately 16 million trips, community members who depend on this service. Whereas Pierce Transit has provided more than 24 million rideshare trips over the past 45 years. Whereas public transportation investments generate 31% more jobs per dollar than new construction of roads and bridges, and investment in transit can yield 49,000 jobs per $1 billion invested and offer a 5-to-1 economic return. And finally, whereas greater transit uses is associated with higher levels of physical activity, which is associated with lower risks and lower health risks and better health outcomes. Now, therefore, I, Jim Castema, Mayor of the City of Puyallup, do hereby proclaim June 2025 as Ride Transit Month and urge residents, community organizations, and decision makers to ride, promote, and celebrate public transportation as a key aspect of mobility in the City of Puyallup. Eyewitness whereof I, Mayor Jim Castema, have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Puyallup to be affixed this 17th day of June 2025. And with that, I would like to have Kirk Nolvis please come forward. He is Pierce Transit's government relations individual. I'd like to have him accept the proclamation and then say a few words. I would also ask that we give him an applause.
Mayor Castema, council members, members of the community joining us this evening. Again, I'm Kirk Colvis, Government Relations Administrator for Pierce Transit, and I'm honored to be joining you this evening to accept this proclamation recognizing Ride Transit Month. This year marks 45 years of Pierce Transit serving the people of this region. For more than 4 decades, we've connected communities, supported local economies, and helped make our streets more safe, sustainable, and accessible for all. Really, public transit is about more than just getting people from point A to point B. It's about opportunity, equity, and it serves as an economic engine for the entire community. It connects people to jobs, school, their community, healthcare, and most importantly, to each other. I want to thank the City of Puyallup for taking the time to recognize this tonight and for their ongoing partnership and support. I'm really proud to be the representative from Pierce Transit representing all the dedicated employees that are working to keep our whole community moving. And as we celebrate the remainder of Ride Transit Month here in June, let's continue building a future where taking transit is not just possible, but is a preferred solution for getting you where you need to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate those words. With that, we're now going to move on to the new 2C. We're going to have Scott Engel, the Puyallup Police Chief, come forward, and he will just briefly apprise the public of precautions that the Puyallup Police Force is taking this year regarding the 4th of July fireworks. Always a very contentious issue. Let's be very straight with that. And I think the city is doing its best to try and ameliorate the effects, adverse effects. It's very difficult. So with that, please, Police Chief.
Mayor Castema, members of the council, Scott Engel, Chief of Police, thank you very much for the opportunity to give a brief overview of our plan for 4th of July this year. As you know, 4th of July can be a troublesome event for some in our community, and we recognize that. We also recognize that sometimes people make poor choices on the 4th of July in terms of what they are doing. The 4th of July this year is on a Friday. It tends to present an equally larger challenge for us when it falls on a Friday, given that folks normally don't work on that Friday and then have the rest of the week or weekend to continue their festivities. Wanted to share with you our staffing plan first and foremost with how we will be staffed for enforcement and education for the 4th of July. On July 2nd, we'll be staffing one officer who will be dedicated specifically for fireworks complaints, fireworks calls, fireworks incidents and activities where we can hopefully make a difference in what may be occurring. Outside of our regular patrol officers, as you can imagine, our patrol officers have many other things going on during the peak time of 4th of July activities, and so we are dedicating resources to be able to handle community concerns regarding fireworks. On the 3rd, we'll have 2 officers working from 6 to midnight. On the 4th, we will have 2 officers who will also be paired with Central Pierce Fire and Rescue fire marshals. It's very important for us to have their collaboration in this activity with us. The fire marshals are very well versed in what is a safe firework and what is an illegal firework, so we appreciate having them out on the 4th of July, and we'll be out that night from 6 o'clock to 2 in the morning. And then we'll continue our enforcement and education activities through the weekend, both on the 5th and 6th. On the 5th, we'll have 2 officers also working from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's Saturday. And then on Sunday, we'll also have 1 officer out from 6 p.m. to midnight. We do encourage our citizens to call 911 if they have a complaint. I recognize that is different than the messaging in some other communities. Some other communities use the public portal on the South Sound 911 website. We want citizens to call and report fireworks activity. And the reason we ask them to do that is in Puyallup, we respond to fireworks complaints. So for us, it becomes a call for service, and our officers can respond and handle that matter. Some agencies that use the public portal, that is just simply informational, but is not informational in Puyallup. We are still responding to fireworks complaints. And as our officers are out there, particularly the officers who are assigned to fireworks enforcement and education, if they're not handling a call for service at that time, we're asking them to be proactive in their contacts in neighborhoods. And we also have areas that we know that sometimes are problems from one year to the next, and so we ask those officers to spend some time in those areas as well. For the public in Puyallup, fireworks are legal to discharge between 9 and 11 a.m. only on July 4th. That is the permitted time that you can do that, and outside of that, it is a criminal violation. We will begin our social media educational campaign next week, trying to share for folks how to be safe, how to make good decisions, and what is actually legal on the 4th of July. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll take any questions from council.
Okay, thank you. I just would like to ask quickly, will the city be disseminating the information through its website?
I believe so.
Okay. Maybe we can hear a little bit more on the city manager's comments if that's going to be the case. But otherwise, any questions by members? I know that we get a lot of very irate emails. Some of the most irate emails I receive throughout the entire year are in the aftermath of people equating what takes place in a house in front of a house, sometimes that with almost a commercial display. So they really are some very evasive kind of invasive, fireworks displays that are out there that cause a lot of disharmony. So thank you for doing this. And we're going to discuss further on July 1st at our meeting but I thought it would be a little late, frankly, if we just brought it up then, a few days before. It's best to get people thinking about this now. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Police Chief. Appreciate that. With that, we're now going to move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda, of course, is where we have one vote on numerous items that are believed to be held in agreement by council members. But having said that, if there is a member who would like to remove one of these, it is up to their discretion to do so. Let's see, City Manager Kirkley.
Yes, excuse me, Mayor. I think we'll do citizen comments. It's on the agenda first.
Oh, I apologize. I was getting a little mixed up in the agenda. You're right. Citizens' comments. Well, Ned, Councilmember Whitting, you're just going to have to wait on that one, okay? So with that, we will go ahead and go to citizen comments. Could we have the clerk please go ahead and identify the guidelines?
This part of the meeting is for general citizen comments. Please reserve any public hearing testimony to that section of the agenda. The mayor will call on those who have provided their names in advance. Then the mayor will call for other citizens who wish to speak. For the record, please state your name and address or city council district in which you reside. Please direct your comments to the council as a whole, not individual council members. All comments are limited to 3 minutes. The clerk will provide verbal notice when only 30 seconds remain. As a reminder, this portion of the meeting is council's opportunity to hear from the community and not a time to engage in debate. Lastly, per state law, this public comment period cannot be used to speak in support of or in opposition to a ballot measure or individual candidacy, and no such comments will be allowed.
Okay, thank you, Dan. With that, the first person we have is Paul Romich.
Thank you, Mayor Castmo. Paul Romich, District 1. I want to thank Council for recognizing Ride Transit Month as an age-friendly city. I think it's imperative that we do so. And not only is it good to do as an age-friendly city, I also think it might be good luck. The Mariners celebrated Ride Transit Night on Friday and then won 3 games straight, which is a lot for them in their current state. So, yeah, no, but as an age-friendly city, transit is very important because our primary mode of transportation here in Puyallup is age-gated, ability-gated, and income-gated, and that's not quite very accessible or equitable for folks here in the valley or up on the hill. And so, I think, the proclamation is good, but we should also try to strive to invest more. Currently, the ARP lists, the Livability Index lists our transportation score in the low 40s. That's one of the things that brings down Puyallup as an age-friendly city, is this problem with our transportation options. Some of that comes down to that is out of our hands with our transit partners, being restricted in various means, whether it's budget from Pierce Transit's perspective or BNSF from Sound Transit's perspective. But there's small things we can do as a city to also improve things. For instance, the quality of our transit stops is lackluster in many places. Mainly that falls on the transit agencies, but that's something the city could do and probably take upon itself to maybe upgrade those and maybe make them best in class. I don't know. I'm going to give the biggest, most egregious example to me is the one right in front of our senior activity center. Doesn't have a bench, doesn't have a shelter. It's when you're talking tired bones, and you have to wait an hour, maybe more, for a bus. That's a long wait to stand, and maybe you'll wait inside at the senior activity center, but then the bus driver might not see you and drive right past. So just those type of small wins, because ultimately at the end of the day, transit should be no different than taking the elevator, right? You know where the elevator is, it's reliable, and you know that it's going to get you where you need to go, so you don't even need to think about it. That's ultimately the goal and what we should strive to be as a city that wants to be, awesome for people of all ages. I hope, we make some good strides this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate those comments. With that, Robin King, please.
I don't think I can take 3 minutes, but I'll do my best. So I'm here to talk about the House Bill 1337 and the city's plans and stuff, which I just learned about this afternoon, so I apologize for lack of preparation. But I do want to thank council members and fellow residents for being able to participate in this civic process, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. I want to thank all the council members for their efforts and dedication to come to decisions that enhance the welfare of our community while allowing opportunity for residents to invest in their properties and housing options. I understand the reasoning for limiting ADUs in the Lahar evacuation areas and I see House Bill 1337 as excessive in some of its mandates, such as allowing multiple ADUs on one property. I appreciate the city's response to try and keep our community the way that it has always been and allow a growth at the same time. I'd like to encourage the council to consider allowing a limited number of ADUs to be permitted in the Lahar region on a first-come, first-served basis, so as to prevent oversaturation of ADUs, while at the same time giving residents the opportunity to invest in their future and their community. And I thank you very much for the opportunity to say that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Well said. Bud Metzger.
Bud Metzger, District 3, thank you. We've been lucky. It's been a gift to have Deputy Chief McDonald here for so many years. He's a straight shooter. He's good to ask questions to. And he didn't just work here, he lived here. He provided guidance for so many different people in so many different fronts. And I have to admit, I'm a tennis fan too, so he has those skills as well. We're lucky to have him, and to tell you the truth, if he allows, we should name something after him that isn't a pickleball court. Sorry. Put one in your backyard. Secondly, I want to talk about the zoning changes that are proposed and the comprehensive plan. Even though there's been statements that say that you've done your duty and aren't doing a lot of changes at the end, your actions don't support your words in some sense. That you have become confused on who's making amendments and who isn't and how they're worded. And with respect to who can walk how far, how fast, that's just seat of your pants mathematics, and I've seen better science at the Fair Science Fair. These decisions do not need to be taken, from, on the back of a matchbook. These are serious things, and people responding to emergencies don't respond the same. It's panic. People that think they can walk so far, what, do you think they're going to leave something? You think they're going to carry something? You think some people aren't going to knock other people over? I mean, you need to be serious. These are panic emergency situations, and it's extremely dangerous. So please review that and the Lahar issues, because a lot of people can be harmed, not just by the Lahar. I've been in situations like that and covered them, and it is more dangerous than you realize.
30 seconds.
Yeah, so lastly, I felt some difficulty with the last meeting, how my council members that represented me in District 3 were treated. I thought it was in some negative tones, and I didn't think it needed to be that way. It could have been addressed much more politely, because they did have valid points to make this process better. I would ask
Mr. Mayor, the speaker's reached 3 minutes.
Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you, Bud. Next person, Andwelin Izquierdo.
And good evening, council members. I'm Angelina Izquierdo, District 2, Pierce County. I had a comment on the Right Transit Month proclamation. So thank you for recognizing our transit system in our state for Right Transit Month. Although we do need more improvements in safety in all of our transportation systems, I am grateful for the times the buses have helped me commute to my jobs and resource centers within our community while my car was stolen and or vandalized by human traffickers over the years. I've had drivers help prevent me from getting kidnapped and butchered just by allowing me to look for change while on the bus for fare instead of outside while in a hurry, and also just by doing their jobs without any discrimination or prejudice. This can be displayed to me from time to time because of the color of my skin, but the drivers have become better since years ago. They're much, much better. This access is essential to our health, especially for pregnant women and the homeless without a vehicle. It can be tough walking hours and hours just to get to the store. Please put forth additional funding in our transportation systems and expanding on their schedules during out-of-reach times and into our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. With that, is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak? We will open it up. I don't see anyone. With that, we're now going to move on to number 3, the consent agenda. Sorry, I just kept going through the numbers before. The consent agenda is where we have a number of items that have been agreed to by members, and we go ahead and resolve those with one vote. But having said that, we always make it available to all members if they would like to remove one of the items and place it at another point on the agenda for further discussion. Councilmember Whitting, you indicated as such. Would you like to identify that?
Yes, I'd like to pull the item 3A off the consent agenda for further discussion later.
Where would you like that placed?
5A.
Okay, well, I think you mean there is
4C.
Yeah, I believe 4C would be appropriate. Okay, let's do that. Okay, we will at that time do 3A. Okay, so the consent agenda now is everything from 3B through 3G. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Excellent. We'll move on to number 4, ordinance. 4A is second reading of an interim zoning ordinance amending Title 20 Puyallup Municipal Code to address middle housing in compliance with House Bill 1110. Katie Baker, would you like to introduce the ordinance or stand available for questions, et cetera?
I can provide a brief introduction, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor and council members, the item before you is second reading of an interim ordinance to adopt regulations that allow middle housing in residential zones in compliance with House Bill 1110. The ordinance also includes the amendment passed at first reading, which prohibits application of these middle housing regulations within the volcanic hazard area, except for on lots within 1/2 mile of the base of the surrounding hillside, as measured from the volcanic hazard area boundary. I have maps available tonight if that will aid your discussion, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Is there any discussion or any motions? Councilmember Whitting.
I'd just like to comment that we kind of find ourselves in an awkward situation. We are working on code changes that in the course of the review of the comp plan, but we've got this state legislation that we need to adopt. I think that there's some things that need further discussion, but I don't think that we're prepared to discuss those tonight. But I do anticipate further discussion of some of these provisions at a later time in conjunction with the comp plan code amendments. So I just wanted to register that, and that's all I had. Thanks.
Councilmember Whitting, I will respond by I do plan on asking, and I believe members here will acquiesce, that we immediately find the funds, allocate the funds, so that when the comp plan is passed, we enter into a comprehensive study that you have recommended actually in the comp plan, so that we're doing things based on science. This is a short-term provision. Please keep that in mind in the whole scheme of things. Councilmember Johnson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to respond on this as well. And I think that Councilmember Whitting touched on this, as we all know. This is just a placeholder of an interim proposal to pass for second reading, knowing that we're going to be addressing some of the concerns that are still outlined by a few of us as colleagues, as well as, well, all of us, and then a few of us colleagues have some concern. And so I think this gives us ample time to take a look at that rather than trying to jam it through and make a decision tonight with a lot of extra drama. This puts a bookmark in here to allow us to work on that, some of those issues that are concerning for some of us and for the constituent base who's expressed some concerns. So I do have just some clarifying questions, not only for myself, but for the public. And perhaps Katie or Steve, you may have some ideas. But this interim, we would anticipate this period of time, let's say it passes tonight, we would anticipate that council has up to probably maybe December-ish to be coming up with to either do one of two or three things. One would be to come back and codify exactly what we passed, no changes, move it forward with the majority vote, or come back and make some modifications, or abort the whole thing and say we're starting from scratch, which I wouldn't recommend. But that's when it would happen. This couldn't just go into infamousy and by default go into a final state. It's going to have to be readdressed publicly and openly. Is that correct on that?
That is correct. The interim ordinance is in place for a time period of 6 months. At that point, if we don't have a permanent ordinance adopted, staff would come to you requesting a 6-month extension. I would anticipate with the level of planning commission work and community engagement that needs to take place as part of this process, I would probably expect we will have to extend it at least once, but we will certainly make every effort to bring it to you expeditiously.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, my thoughts are I think that we could accomplish this within the 6 months and finalize it before the year's out. That would be kind of my hope and goal, but we'll let the process take its place, because I think we've already put a lot of effort and energy in this. We're now just getting down to some of the fine-tuning and things that just need a little bit of further discussion, further study, and to make a decision. So, with that understanding in mind, I'll be supporting this second reading, and would encourage my colleagues with that in mind to know that some of the things that you may have expressed can certainly come up in that interim period for discussion, both offline and publicly, within groups of 3 or less. And so that would be a recommendation I'm at. So I'll be supporting this, Mr. Mayor, and looking forward to the, in fact, I'll just make a motion, if you don't mind. I'll make a motion that we adopt the second reading as listed in 4A of the interim zoning ordinance at this point now.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second. Councilmember Whitting.
I just wanted to Mr. Mayor, you had suggested that we set aside some money for a study here. Do we want to make that into a formal motion as well?
I don't know if it's appropriate on this, because your motion that you made on the comprehensive plan will pass. And it was very comprehensive in the instructions of what it would do. I suggest that we, in fact, ask staff to prepare for a RFP for that. And when that passes, which is going to be very shortly here, is we'll immediately go out for an RFP. I would like to see whether we could accomplish this within a 6-month period, as Councilmember Johnson has said. And that will be, I want you to know that I don't want to hurry this, but I also, and I want to have the correct data, but I want to give it due diligence. And I am completely in agreement with that. I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know if, I don't believe it needs a formal motion at this time.
Fair. That's fair enough.
Okay, but either way, Councilmember Whitting.
I'm good to go.
Okay, good. All right. Anyone else wishing to comment? If not, this will be a roll call vote, voice vote first. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Clerk, please.
Councilmember Adler?
Nay.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor King?
Aye.
Councilmember Gilliam?
Aye.
Councilmember Whitting?
Aye.
Councilmember Dorr?
Nay.
Mayor Castema?
Aye. The vote is 5-2. Okay, with that, we're now going to move on to 4B, second reading of an ordinance to amend Title 11, 14, 20, 21 of the Puyallup Municipal Code. Associate Planner Nabila Comstock, please come forward. Hi.
Hi.
Good seeing you.
So good evening. My name is Nabila Comstock, planner with Development and Permitting Services. I do have a short presentation for the second reading of the ordinance to adopt amendments to the city's ADU regulations consistent with House Bill 1337. So just as a brief refresher, the House Bill 1337 was passed in 2023 with the purpose of expanding housing options and easing barriers to the construction and use of ADUs. The purpose of the code amendments are to align the city's existing ADU standards with the state requirements. We are required to adopt these changes into our code by June 30th of this year. And on June 3rd, City Council conducted a first reading of an ordinance to amend the zoning code to meet the requirements of the legislation. With the changes to state law, we do have new requirements, some of which include allowing up to 2 ADUs in zones that allow for single-family residences, eliminating owner occupancy requirements, and allowing the maximum size of ADUs to be up to 1,000 square feet. At the first reading of the ordinance, the Council approved the Planning Commission recommendation with amendments, which were to increase the maximum number of bedrooms per ADU to 3 bedrooms per unit, as well as restricting the construction of ADUs on lots within the volcanic hazard area, except for lots within 1/2 mile from the base of the surrounding elevation of the Puyallup Valley floor. At the first reading of the ordinance, the Council approved the Planning Commission recommendation, except for changes to bedroom counts. The Planning Commission had recommended retaining the existing language to set a maximum of 2 bedrooms per ADU. Staff did recommend striking the bedroom maximum for consistency with the legislative intent to treat ADUs generally the same as the principal unit. And again, the Council did choose to amend the ordinance to increase the maximum number of bedrooms per unit to 3 bedrooms. So tonight, the Council will hold a vote on the second reading of the ordinance, adopting amendments to the city's ADU regulations consistent with House Bill 1337. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Councilmember Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I do have some questions. And perhaps, Nabilia, this would be happening when we get to the code sections, but I just kind of want to touch on it now publicly and put it out there. Are there any opportunities that the city might be able to put in the code as we begin to fine-tune this and put this into implementation after adoption, should it be adopted tonight? Some ideas to streamline some permit-ready plans that are pre-approved that might expedite the process of someone who wants to build an ADU. In other words, not all ADUs may be totally custom houses that require a tremendous amount of oversight and inspection and all these things. But if the city, is there a possibility for the city to consider adopting some basic floor plans and things that would allow this to be cheaper, quicker, without the over-onerous inspection of a custom stick-built home that would require more oversight because it's already been pre-looked at, in a sense pre-baked, just a matter of making sure that these plans are put together correctly on the lot in the proper way. Is that something that could be done if the council or staff would want that into the ordinance or into the, I guess, what's it called? There's that second section that we're going to do. So we're doing that ordinance tonight, but what's the doing? We talk about the
comprehensive plan update.
Well, no, the other one, but there's the implementation, the details. When we get to the details of what is it? The code. Thank you. The code, yeah. So when we write the code, would that be an appropriate place to put in some provisions for permit-ready plans?
Yes, so tonight we are making the code amendments that are proposed as part of the ordinance. If council would like to provide direction for us to look further into, including pre-made plans for ADUs, that's something we could definitely look into. There are other cities who do that. I don't believe that would happen as part of this first round, but we could definitely come back.
Well, I certainly don't want to delay this. I want to support this moving forward. I guess I would love to, if it's not pre-baked in here, I know that Councilor Whitting has expressed some interest. Perhaps there might be some other colleagues that might express some interest. So I think it'd be nice to have that. If against it's just basic, pre-approved plans that make it just more convenient for the customer to keep costs down. So I guess normally I would make a motion to approve the second reading, but maybe after hearing my comments, if there are any council members that might want to express some interest or desire on including some permit-ready provision in this particular second reading, it may not be appropriate or timing or how to go about this. I'll leave it open because I think it's kind of important to cost savings and to the bureaucracy of staff having to look at it from a clean slate as a custom stick-built ADU, and if there's some approved plans, they might be able to expedite that. I guess I'll open it up and see if there's any traction. If not, I'll support the bill as it stands, and we can deal with it later, but if we can deal with it now and it makes sense, I'd sure love to entertain it. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Let me correct something. I believe that in the comprehensive plan, it actually does instruct that we will come up with pre-approved plans. There's always direction to do so. I don't know specifically ADU, but it does do that. Am I correct?
Yeah, if I may speak to that, our housing action plan has a specific strategy that does address pre-approved accessory dwelling unit plans, and that's certainly something that council can give us direction to prioritize.
Understand.
Mr. Mayor, can I follow up on that?
Yes.
So is this discussion a duplication of something that's already been taken care of in what she just mentioned, or is this a separate line item that we should address with this particular ordinance? Maybe Katie could address that.
So I would consider that one potential action item of many that the planning division could be working on. To some extent, we have our marching orders in terms of code amendments ahead of us for the next good amount of time, but certainly we welcome council direction on other action items that we should be pursuing. I think I may want to discuss more with the city manager how we want to present all of those action items to you to understand better your priorities for us.
Councilmember Whitting.
I'd just like to express my support for having those kind of model plans, and wanted to suggest a strategy for how to get them. When an architect puts together plans for a ADU or any other kind of building, they spend time and effort, and it's not free, so it's proprietary, and we can't just preempt those. But as we approve ADUs and from various architects, I would suggest we reach out to the architects and have a agreement ready to present to them to say that we would like to offer their ADU as an option in our city ADU toolkit, and if they allow us to do that, then they will reap a particular royalty, and then we offer that up to our constituents with the understanding that if they use that particular design, that they will compensate the architect for a certain amount. So I think that's a way to fill up our toolbox with those kind of plans. Thank you.
May I suggest at this point that we have a motion so that we have something on the table to actually discuss. Right now we're discussing ideas. I know they're very focused on this, but in the order that we should be considering this, we should put something before us to examine and decide whether we want to pass it, add something, etc. So with that, I would entertain a motion to pass second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Now let's go back to discussion. Councilmember Dorr.
Thank you. Katie, I just want, for the public benefit, it's my understanding that this will require, both of these actions will require a public hearing within 60 days. Is that correct?
That is not true for the accessory dwelling unit ordinance. This is a permanent ordinance that we're bringing before you, not an interim one. So no additional public hearing is necessary. We did hold a public hearing with the Planning Commission.
But so the previous action on the middle housing does require.
That is correct. Our plan is to come back before you, I think, at the end of July for that public hearing.
Okay. And so with that being a permanent, I don't have more questions, just a comment. I'm not going to support this. I have, again, we've had the conversation, USGS clearly indicates that the most dangerous areas are the areas adjacent to the river. Yes, it will spill over, but where it's going to come is to the homes abutting the river. We allow RMS or RM20 in those areas. I've had over the years, and especially this past week, feedback about people who want ADUs. We talk about affordability and homeownership and all the different things. We are an aging in place city, an age-friendly city, and I've had constituents, and they're not in my district, but I've had people reach out to me and say that their mothers, their loved ones, they cannot afford to live in Puyallup. We have had some feedback today from MBA, and I do support their comments. So I'm not going to be supporting this. I find it very problematic that this is a permanent ordinance, a permanent ban on these ADUs. So I will not be supporting it. Thank you.
Councilmember Adler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Katie, if I may, I just want to be crystal clear that this ordinance is not temporary. That is before us. It does not fall subject to the 6-month timeline of which public outreach would be happening because we've already provided a public hearing on this ordinance, correct?
That is correct.
And again, I just want to be very clear that this is a permanent ordinance should it pass this evening, and it would go into effect immediately because we're up against a June 30 deadline.
That is also correct.
Thank you.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I kind of want to follow up with some of the comments I made. I'm sorry if I made a little bit of kind of wave the waters a little bit, but I think it was a good thing to do because I think it's something that we can work on. I did check with our city attorney as a parliamentarian to find out when may be a good time to insert, council may have a good time to insert this permit-ready plan idea, and he felt that we could do that, if I recall right, under the comprehensive plan adoption at that time. So with that, knowing that we can insert that at some point or consider that down the road, we could insert that at that time, and it won't necessarily be needed tonight. I do want to state, even though this is a permanent one, I don't think there's any concern here from a public standpoint because due process has taken place at the Planning Commission through the public hearing. And the council, as I can recall, correct me if I'm mistaken, we haven't done anything to, in a sense, really hinder what's already come forward through the public process in the Planning Commission, other than adding an extra bedroom, I think. So I don't think that we drastically changed anything on this particular ordinance to go into play. So I'll be supporting it. And I wanted to say this. I don't know why. It's the strangest thing. Maybe I do know why. I've never most recently been so excited about a particular ordinance like this specific one, 4B. I don't know why. It just seems to resonate that we've opened the gates a little bit wider to take down barriers for folks who want to provide housing for family, for friends, or those who want entry-level kind of attainable housing on some of these larger lots and appropriate lots within Puyallup. So I guess when I think of this, I think of our adult children in our city who have been raised here, who have memories here, who now, because of this, can find a entry-level price point to be able to purchase in our city that would be significantly, perhaps up to $200,000 cheaper than a single family home on a similar lot here in Puyallup. So this really moves me, and very excited about the implementation and excited to see the growth of young families and or young singles who will have the opportunity to perhaps to afford to buy a home literally in our neighborhoods. So I'm glad to support this and look forward to council's support as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Whitting.
It hadn't dawned on me that this was a permanent ordinance. I was laboring under the assumption that it was an interim, just as the previous ordinance was. So I find myself, I think there's a number of areas that I would like to see changes to this particular ordinance. So I find myself in an awkward position. I want to see changes, but we've got a June 30 deadline, and I don't think we'll be prepared to make those changes in that time period. So I'm going to vote in favor of this ordinance, but with the understanding that we are going to have to consider some of these provisions as we move on from the comp plan and discuss the code changes that will come behind that. So it's an expeditious position where I'm trying to thread the needle here, and I think that's what I need to do tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Nay.
With that, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Johnson?
Hey, what did I say? Yes, how about that? Yes,
Yay.
aye.
Deputy Mayor King? Aye. Councilmember Gilliam?
Aye.
Councilmember Whitting?
Aye.
Councilmember Dorr?
Nay.
Councilmember Adler?
Nay.
Mayor Castema?
Aye. With that, that is a 5-2 vote. With that, we're going to move on to 4C, which is in reality 3A, and that is authorizing entering a contract with, am I correct, Stumpy Tree Service for the 2025 Clarks Creek LED Management Project. Councilmember Whitting, would you like to go ahead and pose your questions or a motion, whatever?
Yes, indeed. So reading this, it sounds like the price tag for a 1-year LED removal project is $230,000. Hansa, you're going to be the responder here.
Yes, Hans Hunger, city engineer.
So the cost of this project is $230,000, correct?
Yes, and so compared to last year where we only did the city length of Clarks Creek for the cutting, this year we're doing both the city and the county's length, but the county is reimbursing us up to $125,000.
So is this 230 our share, or is it our share 230 less the 125?
Less than up to 125, but it couldn't be up to that. So yes.
So half of this number.
Correct.
Okay, that sigh of relief. So my follow-on question is you've addressed it with the Pierce County question, but that was question 2. Question number 3, this is part of the area that is in the unincorporated Pierce County is actually in our urban growth area. So if we were to eventually annex the entire regional growth, the urban growth area on the west side of town there, I think the Clarks Creek actually serves as a boundary between our urban growth area and unincorporated Pierce County. Is that correct?
It does on the part past, I think it's a few hundred feet down from like West Pioneer there where it transitions.
Yeah. Okay. And so if we were to annex it, I'm just thinking ahead here about the relative costs. So if we were to annex it, is our share going to bump up?
I don't think that's really been settled yet. Part of my argument against that would be that what's draining into Clarks Creek, Daru Creek, Rhodey Creek are all coming from unincorporated Pierce County, feeding the sediment that then is also the medium in which the Elodea grows. So I think we could make a pretty good argument to Pierce County that they've still got a share in this too.
Yeah, okay. So you've answered my questions. Thank you for that additional information. I just want to be sure all of my colleagues are kind of aware of this annexing issue, so that we don't blindly annex something that's going to have some financial impact on us without due consideration of those issues. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I now move approval of item 4C.
Okay, thank
Second.
you. It's moved and seconded. Discussion. City Manager Kirkley.
Yes, thank you. I just want to point out that in the agenda bill, our recommendation there for the approval is $209,000, but as the council member Whitting said, the total contract amount is $230,000. That includes our 10% contingency. So just for clarity of the record, the motion is actually for $230,000, not for the $209,000.
Okay, but was it clarified that there is a portion of that coming from Pierce County?
Yeah, and that's the reimbursement up to $125,000 of that $230,000.
Understand.
Come from the county.
Okay, I have a one question for you. At what frequency are we addressing the LID in the Clarks Creek?
Annually. So
Annually, okay.
Yeah, we attempted a few years back to try to go do a delay of 1 year. We really found out that the LED isn't going to wait. The water levels really rise when it starts to back up behind the LED.
Yeah, I'd like to. This is an annual issue that we have in Puyallup, and the neighbors along that creek, the LED fill basically the water level up, and we get floods. And the only way to address it, believe it or not, is by going in there and cutting this long, reedy grass called Eladia. The nutrients that go into the water, all kinds of things lead to more Eladia growth. There is some long-term work, just so the public knows. WSU is looking at hopefully putting a hatchery in that area where they will do some experimentation. And keep in mind, what happens at Clarks Creek is happening all across the United States. What once were nice, sleepy little creeks have turned into huge areas where you have stormwater runoff from a lot of suburban areas. So what we experience here is experienced throughout the United States. So any way we can come up to solve this will actually, I think, help a lot of people. So anyway, just a note on that. With no further discussion, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, we will now move on to City Manager's report.
Yes, at this point, the primary item for your July 1st meeting, that's your next meeting, is there'll be an update from the State Department of Transportation on the 167 project. I know I've received a few just inquiries about the work that's going on out there that they've started on the portion that will lead here into Puyallup. So the Department of Transportation will be here to provide an update on that project. Mr. Mayor, you'd asked about the fireworks and just some outreach. So like we have previous years, we'll be doing a article in our Puyallup Connection, the e-newsletter, and also on our social media channels, both the city social media channels and then the police department social media channels, an education component of that, as we've done previously. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We will now move on to council reports. We'll start with Councilmember Whitting.
Okay, just a couple of things. We had our wall bashing at the Cornforth Campbell palindrome project. I gave it my best, but the wall was still standing when I left, despite my best efforts. So that's the start of a program that I think is going to be great for our city. Also wanted to mention the Taste Northwest, which is coming up June 27th through 29th, another big event down at the fairgrounds. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitting. Councilmember Johnson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to, I guess, just recognize and honor and give gratitude to the Puyallup Main Street Association and the partner of the City of Puyallup and so many sponsors for just a fantastic Maker Days Festival. The weather cooperated quite nicely, which really made for a great turnout. I have to admit, it's one of my, any of the street things that we do downtown, especially in the summer, are kind of the highlight of my interest. So my wife and I did go down on Friday night to enjoy some of the bands and enjoyed that. And we went down Saturday night and enjoyed some of the bands. And then on Father's Day, we were having a barbecue with our children and grandchildren, but I had a little bit of extra time, a couple hours of extra time, and I told my wife, I'm just going to go down by myself. And I went down on Father's Day and walked around, listened to some of the bands, and it was just a wonderful time to spend enjoying community and enjoying the sights and sounds and live music. I can state, too, that I can't tell you how many comments people came up to me to thank me in the city and, of course, really referring it back to the Main Street for providing this. There are people who come in from far away to come to this event. In fact, many people, we talk about the LTAC heads and beds kind of vibe. Several people tell me they actually live and actually spend the night before to be able to enjoy the festivities here. Some came from Black Diamond, and they just compliment how much they love our town, and now they're so grateful to be able to participate. And of course, my comment to them, come on down, move down here, it's a great place to live. And so I think that was wonderful. I also heard significant people, business people, Mr. Mayor and Council, that who live in other cities in the Pierce County area, and they want to open up businesses here in Puyallup. So I'm hearing of economic development where they've told me this directly. I looked around and saw children and moms and dads and walking around and even listening to the bands. It's just so wonderful. It's like a little piece of heaven here on earth. And so it's a good reminder that as much as we have our, whatever things that we, discuss, and at the end of the day, it's a great place, right? And that's by no accident for sure. I also had a lot of people come up to me, and I can't tell you, as much as they enjoyed the Meeker Days, they can't wait for the Concert in the Park series. I mean, they're just chomping at the bit. Are you going to be there? Yeah, we're going to be there. I'm going to bring some people and some friends. And so that's coming the first Thursday after the 4th of July. I think for a consecutive, I think of 10 weeks, Cody, is that right? I think there's 10 weeks. Yeah, so 10 Thursdays in a row of various bands. And so people are really getting a great following on that. And so just a great report. Big shout out to the Main Street Association. And just a real testament to, what we're doing as a city to really make this place not only enjoyable for us, but for guests to come and for future people who want to come and live and do business here in our city. So just kudos and gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Gilliam.
Thank you, Mayor Castava. Well, Meeker Days was a huge hit, and I had the best time keeping the garbage bins empty with the Ferrucci Cougars. They showed up to support the team, support the event, and it was a blast. It was actually really fun to see some old youth center graduates having booths and selling their product, right? There's like Puyallup homegrown people as vendors selling their creation at our amazing Meeker Days. And I especially love the new placement of the main stage and how they had that set up to where whether you wanted to hang out in the adult section in the beer garden or you could sit outside and you were treated the same because there was excellent seating and little fire pits, and it just made it feel like a hometown feel. It was beautiful. So huge shout out to the Puyallup Main Street Association for that. I'm really proud of you guys. I also wanted to do a huge shout out for all the graduates, and as a teacher, I'm very grateful that today was the last day of school. So if I seem a little tired, it's because it was a strong push, and I'm so proud of all of our young people who are now on summer break. Parents, come down to Parks and Rec. We have summer camp, we have day camp, and I'm sure the YMCA can hook you up too. So if you need a break or some activities for your young people, you can sign them up for camps. I have to admit, I'm a little bummed that I missed the Palindrome Wall Bash, I think is what I heard it was called, but just the celebration of bringing in new life and a new community connection to our community. That was the site of the Puyallup YMCA Youth Investment Center for a number of years, over a decade, and there was a lot of lives transformed in that facility. And so I'm especially excited. I was Steve, the city manager, took me through a tour afterwards, and there was a few moments of tears where I was like, wow, I remember helping a young person in that spot. I remember having a deep conversation in that spot. I remember organizing events and volunteering in that spot. And so that was surreal. I don't know if I have a better word to articulate it. Are we allowed to support other city events? Because the Washington State Fair and Sumner have something going on the same weekend. I think that y'all need to go down to Sumner for Rhubarb Days coming up. Yep. That will be June 21st and 22nd. But also in our very own backyard, the Washington State Fair is hosting a summer con, and my junior high crush celebrity is going to be there. Mark Paul Gosselaar, Zach from Saved by the Bell. I know so many other celebrities. Yes, I totally just said that from the dais. You guys can pick on me later if you want, but make sure you come to all the amazing community events that are available for whatever family or junior high crush. So with that, I'm going to embarrassingly turn off my mic and say thank you, Mayor Castema.
Thank you, Councilmember Gilliam. Councilmember Dorr.
Thank you. I do want to congratulate Main Street on a fantastic Meager Days. I had an opportunity to attend twice, and also had some friends from Covington who, they are the ones who texted me and said, hey, we're there, come down. So I wasn't planning on going that particular evening, but it was great to have them there. I do want to show up my colleague over here on my seatmate, in that I did get the hole in the building. So, if there's an opportunity for that kind of thing, I'm all about it. And I too had that tour, and it was interesting with the many years and hours that I spent in that building, along with Councilmember Gilliam at times, building a daffodil float. I didn't even recognize it with the, I was disoriented, which is very interesting to see. So I'm glad that it is being repurposed. I had a conversation with the developer about the roof, because I have been rained on, as you probably have as well. You guys are not, you're fixing this, correct? So anyway, it was a great Meeker Days, and I appreciate the PMSA very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Adler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To tag on to what Councilmember Gilliam had shared related to SummerCon, which is coming up, as stated this weekend at the Washington State Fair, I just have to say there are some pretty big names that are coming to this event here in Puyallup, which is very impressive and exciting. Not only Mark Paul Gosselaar will be here, Zach Morris, but also Elizabeth Berkley, who was Jessie on Saved by the Bell. But folks like William Shatner is coming to Puyallup, Tori Spelling. Wow. I mean, these are some, Brian Austin Green, and if you're of a certain age, these actors and actresses really bring you back. So I just am so impressed and excited that, as always, we get to show off our town that we are so grateful to live in and be a part in, and to really show off. I can't wait to hear these folks try to pronounce Puyallup. And I have to say, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the political violence that took place over the weekend in Minnesota. Absolutely abhorrent, very upsetting, and I think, unfortunately, is very reflective of the degradation of civility in our country. I do believe that better days are ahead and America's best days are ahead. But I just wanted to say that my heart is with the state of Minnesota, as well as family and friends and colleagues of the Speaker of the House, and the same for the state senator that he and his wife continue to be in critical condition, fighting for their lives. So thank you.
Thank you for those words, Councilmember Adler. Well put. Deputy Mayor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Had a great weekend at Meeker Days. Had an opportunity to help man the booth over at the Puyallup Main Street Association, and it was a great weekend helping folks find their way through Meeker Days and all the fun things that were in store throughout downtown. So that was a great pleasure. Also just wanted to give a quick shout out to a Puyallup soccer star at Puyallup High School, Zach Robertson. He was awarded the News Tribune's 2025 All Area Soccer Player of the Year. And as a former soccer player myself, it seems like a pretty good nod to have one of our very own here at Puyallup High School receive this All Area Soccer Player of the Year award. So congratulations, Zach Robertson, for a job well done there. And also, small fun fact, I had hair one time in my life. Yeah, right. And I will not be attending SummerCon because I was mistakenly looked at many times as Zach Morris when I was younger. Wow. That was supposed to earn a laugh, and that played a lot better in my head as a joke. But now I'm just going to go crawl on underneath my desk. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor King. I don't know who Zach Morris is. So.
You don't need to know.
Okay.
It's not me.
Okay.
I'm much better looking.
Okay. I assume he's a pretty handsome gentleman. I don't have a whole lot more to add other than I will say that the city of Puyallup, when it decided to redevelop some of the key lots in Puyallup, we went out and we searched for the kind of developers that we wanted to develop in Puyallup who had histories of very high quality developments. Again, it's part of our entire effort that we are in control of our own destiny in Puyallup. We don't let others determine it. We go out, we find those high quality developers. And when Councilmember Gilliam and Councilmember Dorr talked about their previous experience there, the CEO said specifically, this is what they do. They go to older buildings that are in disrepair, and they bring back to life all of the wonderful experiences that took place there. So he talked just almost, kind of teary-eyed at times, just about his plan was to bring back the life that was once there. And I think of the YMCA with Councilmember Gilliam and all the youth whose lives have been transformed in this city. And I think of Councilmember Dorr and putting all those little daffodils in those floats. That is a labor of love to do that. And so his hope is that he really did, in fact, land on something that has a lot of good karma, so to speak, a lot of good experiences. And he will gladly go to those places where you have those fond memories, because that is, in fact, part of their effort to bring that all back to life. We have a very good developer in Palindrome, and we're very fortunate. And then there was one other question brought up by Councilmember Gilliam, which I thought was kind of important. And she said, should we actually tout the attributes or what is taking place in another city? And I say absolutely. I firmly believe that as our neighbors are stronger, we are stronger. We want a strong Sumner. We want strong Edgewood. We want strong Fife. We want our surrounding cities to be as strong as they possibly can, because that helps us. It helps us be stronger. And we want to see our friends benefit. And that's why I'm very, very troubled, frankly, by the South Hill, and why I'm leading an effort for incorporation, to be very frank, so that those people in that area can have some determination of their own destiny. And right now, I don't think that's being achieved to the extent that it should be. Let's put it that way. So with that, we're now going to move into executive session. And for those in the audience, there will be no further business. So I would not advise you stay here. We will not come back out for any business. But let me read what the executive session will involve. The council will now recess into executive session to discuss with city attorneys litigation or potential litigation to which the city council, or city council member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party. The executive session is expected to last 1 hour, and once again, no further action will be taken. So I would not advise that anyone stay in tune or stay in the audience, because we will not reappear. So with that, I will now adjourn our regular meeting. Thank you all for being here.